Today we'll be putting carpet in the rest of this car. There's a couple things that I just hate. They slow you down. So I mentioned in the last video there was some broken off and rusty chair bolts or seat bolts, and that has just been putting me behind and behind. And I finally, after trying to get it out with vice grips, trying to get out with heat, trying to get out, every way I could, I finally just drilled it out. The other seat's going to have bolts like that where they go through the floor and they have a nut on the other side. Just how it's going to have to be, sadly. But, do what you can do. So it's time to put carpet in, finally! Here's the passenger side carpet all installed. We have a kick panel, and we have the sill plate, all used, of course. One thing you have to make sure you do right is this seat belt cover. There shouldn't be carpet underneath it. I usually trim it to about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch inside, so that this holds the carpet down, but there's still enough room for the seat belt. Normal car like this would have a seat belt retractor. We got lap belts for this one, which will work just fine. And now it's time to put in the back carpet. So there's 4 pieces. There's a piece that goes along here, there's a wheel well piece, and then there's the piece for the back. I need to clean all this out. I need to tidy up all that wiring before I put carpet on top of it. But by the end of today, there should be all carpet inside this car. Here's the rear compartment frame for this 74. I finished with the carpet, and this is basically the last thing that needs to go in. But there's one problem. I know you guys don't recognize this piece, but this piece came out of a parts car. It was outside for 25 years. The crazy part is that the piece is beautiful, but the bad part is that these hinges, at least 2 of them, for this door and this door, they're completely rusted. I've soaked them in PB Blaster, I've tried to free them up, and I'm like, you know what, it's not worth it. You might ask, why would I keep a broken frame? Well, it's for times like this. So this is a broken frame out of, I don't even know what, but it's at least 79 and down, and the thing that it has are 2 sets of these hinges that I can use for mine. They're held on by big rivets. I drill them out, and then these are later held in by the screws that hold the frame into the car. So it works out. I can put an extra set of metal tapping screws or whatever in it if I need to, but that's going to be my fix for this. Instead of having to buy a frame, I use this one, use these hinges, and I've saved myself probably $75. I know it's hard to see, and I know my camera's glaring, and I know it makes the carpet look really faded, but it's not. I got this rear compartment in. I'm just missing that one door. I broke one of the frames, so I had to buy another frame, so I'm waiting on that one. But I have the new hinges in, and they work just fine. So, just like that. And the middle one also works. But here's something pretty awesome, is I finally got a seat in the car. Yeah, this is one of those old seats that, if you remember from like the first video, came with the car. Believe it or not, after I dyed them, I sat in them, and they're really comfy. They're actually more comfy than the stock ones in my 73 over there that are brand new. I don't know what they did. They're going to overstuff them. I don't know. But for now, they're good enough. I have a plan that whenever I sell the car, whoever buys it will be able to pick between these seats or a different set of seats depending on how much they pay me for it. But yeah, the interior's coming along. Got this side carpet in. Got all the carpet in, actually. So we're waiting on a seat, and then I have to dye the side panels that go right there, and then the roof panels. We have A-pillars to do, and then the interior is basically done. Oh, and the center gauge cluster, of course. One step at a time. I need to buy more dye because my other seat, I ran out and I don't have any more dye. As of right now, I am so close to getting this interior done. These little pieces are all that I have left to dye. So, column cover, door pulls, some console covers, A-pillar covers. I need one more of these. I need a passenger side one, and then this piece here for the back. But other than that, we're so close to being done. So I guess I'll show you a video of my wife's chickens. They're pretty silly. They follow me around all over the place. Same with the dogs. So I have a tail of animals following me around all day. I got tired of doing interior work, and basically I'm going to focus a little bit on cosmetic work. So I've never actually washed this car. The most that I've done to it was I shined up this rear fender with some rubbing compound and the rear deck. But if you look at it, like, these windows are gross from me putting them in with dirty hands, blah blah blah. So today I'm going to wash the car, and hopefully I'll be able to get a lot of this dirt out. See, you see this? This is from sitting outside for a long time. That just doesn't come out. I don't think it'll come out with just hand washing it. I think I'll have to compound it, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that kind of thing anyway. But it will look much better. See how gross this door is? I wish you guys could see this in person. Yeah, it's gross for me working on it. There's even cat prints still on it. But yep, I need to wash it. It's getting to the point where it needs to be cleaned up at least a little bit. One thing I need to do before I really wash this car is what's called a leak. One thing I need to do before I really wash this car is called a leak test. When I put this new rear window in, I need to basically put all kinds of water on it and come around here, make sure I'm not leaking anything anywhere. Get that glare out of there. I don't know how to do that. I need to clean the camera. But so far, I've done it 3 times and I don't have any leaks, so that's a very good thing. Since the weather stripping in this car isn't new, I'm expecting there's probably some T-top leaks like every C3 has. People claim their C3s don't leak. Well, I invite you to bring your C3 to Texas and have it sit through a Texas thunderstorm. I guarantee you'll get water in it somewhere. That's why C3s belong in the garage. Anyway, I'm going to wash it by hand once, hopefully get all this big stuff off, and I'm hoping from there I can do a light hand buff. I might use my buffer, I don't know, with some compound and go from there. But I think the cleaner wax is the way to go. As you've seen already, it looks pretty good. So this is after one hand wash. A lot of the dirt came off, a lot more than I was expecting it. The funny thing is, all over this whole side there's little white marks, and those marks are from when I was buffing that Maroon 77 I had about a month ago. Whoops. Anyway, they'll all come off, and I think it will look just fine. Man, it's looking much better than it was when I first got it. You guys remember that video? Last time you saw me driving this, there was no interior at all and no seat. I'm kind of excited to sit in a seat and drive. Nifty seatbelt on. Fix is the steering wheel. For some reason I didn't put it on straight. Oh, it's so much nicer with the seat. still recording. Look at this, guys. My tripod broke. That's kind of sad. Alright. Guess I'll hold it. So there's a noise coming from the rear end, and I think since I put that new leaf spring in, that is the exhaust touching the leaf spring. You can hear it's kind of a rattle, like da-da-da-da-da. Thought I was going to get away with a cheap fix, so now it's either go back to that fiberglass spring, which was expensive, or put a different exhaust on it. I'm thinking maybe a different exhaust, I don't know. But it's cool to have a speedo and a tack that both work. I don't know if you guys can see that. That before I sell it. Gotta do something. You guys remember on the test drive there was a noise coming from the driver's side rear, and I had in my mind a couple things it could be. First, I thought it was so they put in a new gas tank and a new strap. I thought it was the tank rattling around, but the tank's installed correctly. It's got the new I don't know what they call it, felts. The new felt setter in between the tank and the anti-squeak things. So it wasn't that. And then I moved on to the, since it's driver's side, I moved on to the driver's side suspension. I'm like, well, maybe that's the spring hitting the exhaust. I don't think it's that. I don't. I mean, if you bottom out really, really hard, it hits. But the thing about it is, it only does it at high speed. So I was looking at these U-joints. And yeah, they're old, but they don't look bad. Usually you can tell by spin. I spun the wheel and listened, and you can tell a U-joint when it's going bad. It squeaks at the same time, the same position every time it goes around. After a bit of searching, I think I figured out what the noise was. That's not on there at all. Making all kinds of noise, and since it was only coming from this side and it was only coming after you got above like 35-40 miles an hour, I'm pretty sure it's that. I'm going to tighten this up, take the car around for a spin and see if that noise goes away, and then I'm going to check all the other calipers on this car, because I don't know, that's stupid right there. I mean, that lock washer is completely loose. I can move it with my finger. So that's got to be tightened up.